that the representatives of the United States, the EU, and the UK were also present there in Paris. That's a big talk from all of those people. But going forward, because there's what we call confidence building, especially amongst the people, how can we draw from this particular talk, knowing full well that 5 African countries, as well as the EU, the UK, and others were there, to the extent that when we speak, the people of Nigeria will understand that truly there shouldn't be any need to fear. For fear, rather.
Now, let me say this. Yeah, let me say this. I think there is also a need for us all in Nigeria to understand the nature of this war. A lot of the time, I've had people speak about terror as if we are fighting a standing army. Even when you are fighting a conventional war like we did fight the Civil War, there are no deadlines. Now, terror is urban and rural guerrilla warfare. It is asymmetrical warfare where the enemy hides among the people or hides in the bush, as the case may be. He chooses his time to strike, and the only way you can monitor and deal with the situation is superior intelligence and being able to monitor wherever they may be striking, you block, you bust those strikes. Now, it is not an easy war where we will think that because the international people have come, then in the next 2 months or 6 months, terror will disappear. You remember that there is a coalition of international forces in Afghanistan in the last 10 years. There is still terror in Afghanistan. There has been a lot of international cooperation in Pakistan. There is still terror attacks in Pakistan. There has been a lot of work in Iraq. There is still terror attack in Iraq. At a point in Somalia, even the physical involvement of America was there. American troops were in Somalia. And it's not an easy war. What I expect to happen is that with a greater international cooperation and technical support and sharing of intelligence, we will be able to deal more with the threats of attack and bust the attack and pursue, the insurgents wherever they may be and attack them in their bases. But that does not mean that in the next 6 months or 1 year, terror may disappear. We expect that in this war, the Nigerian armed forces and the international partners should begin to gain more ground in terms of winning, in terms of stopping most of the attacks. But there is no guarantee that because this cooperation has come out, terror will disappear overnight. The war is our war, and the only way to defeat this terror is for we Nigerians to unite behind the president, behind the armed forces, behind our nation. A lot of the information required in fighting terror is going to come from Nigerians, because these terrorists live in our ranks, they work with us, they grew up with us, at least for those of them that are Nigerians in the Northeast, they know them. So what we expect is for every state government in that region to reorganize their own security architecture. When I say security architecture, I'm not talking of the army, the police, and the security. But in the North for a long time, I grew up in the North, we are from this part. A time used to be when governors were in charge of every place. They will, any little information, any movement towards any village, any threat through their boundaries, they will know. Because traditional rulers were organized up to the hamlet level. Now, with that kind of organization, intelligence will be easier. If there is any little movement or suspicion, that information will go directly to security, to the state government, to security agencies, or directly to the security forces. Because a lot of the intelligence is going to come from Nigerians. It's the cooperation among our people, among our political leaders, among our community leaders, working as one man in dealing with terror that will succeed in defeating terror in the North. No matter the level of international cooperation, if we do not work as a country, as a united country, as a united people, with participation from every citizen, right down to leaders, this war will be prolonged. So this is the time for us to set aside all differences. Whatever differences there may be, our country must come first. Peace must come first. None of us can realize any ambition in the midst of turmoil and crisis. So I think this is the time for Nigeria to unite. International support is only supportive. The war is our war. So I think that is the direction we must address our minds. Certainly, the international participation will give us more technical support in intelligence gathering, in planning strategies. But the real war is the war of the Nigerian armed forces, the Nigerian people. Let us unite and expose the network of terror in our ranks, and this war will be over much faster than we think.
War for about 10 times now. Is the country at war with Boko Haram? Is this what you call it, war?
Well, definitely we all know that we're at war. I mean, what else do we expect to do? I mean, if Boko Haram has taken so much lives. It has, taken the lives of Nigerians through terror attacks, through bomb blasts, through attacks, in marketplaces, in schools, and so on. So we're definitely in a war. I mean, insurgency here is a war. The same way it is in Pakistan, the same way it is in Iraq, the same way it is in Afghanistan, the same way it is developing in Egypt, in Somalia and other places. So we're in war. In the northeast of Nigeria, we're in a state of war. And that is the reason why we believe in this war we need every voice. Every voice must be positive. Every voice must be supportive. Yes, criticism must come. When things go wrong, we expect that we'll be criticized. But that criticism must be tailored to us winning the war. Winning the war. So we need total unity among the political class in Nigeria in dealing with this terror. Without that unity, because the one thing that terror strives on is division of public opinion. And I can tell you as Minister of Information, if we have not done everything we could at this level to tailor the attention of Nigerians towards the real issues in this war, we would have been fighting already among Christians and Muslims. But we have always said that this war is not a war of Christians against Muslims or Muslims against Christians. It's a war of a few of our children that have become ideologically, what will I say now, indoctrinated, against their country. And what we need is for all of us Nigerians to unite our forces, unite our voices, help each other. Wherever we see a threat in our territory, we report and tell our neighbor. And that way, we will work together and defeat it. I tell you this, if Nigerians today unite, village to village, town to town, church to church, mosque to mosque, city to city, we will defeat this terror. And that unity of opinion, that unity of voices, of action, of a people faced by threat is more than any international help. International help doesn't win war. It is we ourselves that will win this war. And I think that is the point the president has been making, all of us. Let us unite to fight this war and leave politics aside. And this is what is required. And I believe Nigerians have the capacity, we have the patriotism, we have the commitment, we have the people, and our armed forces are well trained, well focused, well prepared for this war. What is needed is that unity of purpose among all our people.
Mr. Maku, the issue of unity and confidence building, Sulaiman asked a question earlier, in the area of building confidence amongst the people will require information, but you talked about how to manage this information. What's the plan to ensure that Nigerians get information about what's happening, and what's the guarantee that any information given will be taken and used?
Now, in the initial part of this war, in the last, the emergency, we try to manage the information in such a way that we do not give out the tactics of the army, of the security forces, because unfortunately for us, because the enemy lives everywhere where we are, that information management is also tailored towards ensuring that you give up as much as you could that will not scare citizens. For example, if we were to give out everything we hear concerning where the terrorists or what the terrorists have been doing, people will be scared and there will be panic. So we are guided by the principle not to cause panic in the population, even when we hear certain things, because when there is panic and fear, it itself can cause a lot of damage. Secondly, like I said, we've tried to embed journalists who have not succeeded, but now we are arguing seriously with the defense headquarters on the need occasionally to embed journalists that can use camera, videotape some of the air surveillance, the flights, and then communicate some of that information on television and on radio to the people of Nigeria for them to see a lot of the operations that are taking place. So we will increase that level of information. Also, don't forget that we just set up a center that is giving daily information led by the DG of National Orientation, Maku. That center is also providing daily information and is drawn from all the information officers from the army, from the security forces, and all of them working together with us are providing that information on a daily basis. We assure you that Nigerians will get more of the information that is necessary, to give them confidence and to encourage them to support this terror war. And a lot of what the military will have to do quietly, and they have to do quietly, we will encourage them, they will have to do so. But like I said, we are appealing to everyone, everybody, particularly the states where insurgency has become very endemic, that we should do everything to focus on this war, avoid distractions, avoid recriminations, because essentially this war is a local war. We can only defeat it at the local level where it operates, when the entire citizens are programmed to support, are programmed to be proactive. And that job is a lot of the job that the state government, the local government, community leaders in the regions that were dealing with terror will have to work on, in partnership with the federal government, of course. So it's a war that all hands must be on deck. The more we speak across the table as if public opinion is divided, as if this war is the war of the federal government or state government, we will not succeed. I can tell you what the president has achieved in the last 2 years of this insurgency is significant. The war is still there. It is not over. But I can tell you that every day, every effort, every facility, every resource we have is being deployed to defeat this terror. So we need that level of cooperation, that level of work, and the information required definitely will be made available from time to time.